Hello and welcome. I am Ladi Akiridoluale. Tonight, Economic and Financial Crimes Commission, EFCC, intensifies clampdown on internet fraudsters, begins collaboration with the FBI. Lagos State House of Assembly inaugurates committee to probe purchase of buses by former Governor Akinwumi Ambode's government. Federal government insists it will not relinquish $9 billion in assets as ordered by a London court over an alleged failed gas contract as it files for a stay of execution of the judgment. And Brazil escalates war of words with global powers over Amazon fires, rejects $20 million in foreign aid.
On business news tonight, Nigeria's Manufacturing Purchasing Managers Index increases further to 57.9 index points in August.
And on sports news tonight, the Tigers coach Alex Sowore releases the final roster of 12 players that will represent Nigeria at the 2019 FIBA Basketball World Cup in China, which begins on August 31st.
And from Abuja, U.S. announces new visa issuance fee for all approved non-immigrant visa applications by Nigerians, effective from Thursday, August the 29th.
The Economic and Financial Crimes Commission, the EFCC, says it is intensifying efforts to ensure that the fight against internet fraud is dipped in the bud. And one major move the agency made today is to announce its collaboration and partnership with the Federal Bureau of Investigation, the FBI. The zonal head of the EFCC, Mohammed Rabo, says prior to these collaborative efforts with the FBI, the EFCC had since 2018 launched sustained operations on perpetrators of computer-related fraud, resulting in over 200 arrests.
We arrested more than 200 suspects, charged more than 100 to court, and we got convictions of over 130 of them. As I speak with you now, we have 37 been arraigned in court, so, apart from the brief I gave. And we've recovered so many exotic cars, properties from these fraudsters. And then to further also give brief on our collaboration with the FBI in these computer-related crimes. And this effort with the FBI, the collaboration has led to the arrest of about 28 suspects. 14 have been charged to court, and we've gotten convictions. 9 are still undergoing trial. 5 are under investigations.
Staying with the fight against corruption, former governor of Abia State, Orji Uzor Kalu, is back in court to face trial for alleged 7.2 billion naira fraud after the absence of his lawyer in court yesterday on account of ill health. At the resumed hearing today, the former governor, who is also a serving senator representing Abia State, denied the EFCC's allegations that he stole 7.2 billion naira while he served as governor between 1999 and 2007. He said Abia State under him had no such funds. To support his testimony, the former governor also spoke about the difficulties he encountered in running the state with allocations from the federal government. He said the monthly allocation of Abia State when he took over in June 1999 was 168 million naira. The former governor, however, admitted that he gave former President Olusegun Obasanjo the sum of 100 million naira after he was released from prison custody in 1998. He also said that he gave the People's Democratic Party, PDP, the sum of 500 million naira when it was formed in 1998. In response to questions about his line of business, the former governor, who is currently the chief whip of the Senate, told the court that he had been a successful businessman before venturing into politics. The former governor has closed his case after testifying as the sole witness in his defense. Further hearing in the matter continues tomorrow, Wednesday, when the second defendant, his former Commissioner of Finance, Mr. Jones Udogu, is expected to testify. Meanwhile, the Lagos State House of Assembly today inaugurated a committee to probe the purchase of 820 buses by the immediate past government under the leadership of Mr. Akinwumi Ambode as governor. The House says it was important to investigate the purchase of the buses out of the 5,000 proposed by the former governor for mass transit in the state. The lawmakers explained that the House rejected the proposal to spend 17 billion naira to purchase the buses in the 2017 budget, and that in 2018 and 2019 budgets, the state government had proposed 24 billion and 7 billion naira respectively, but were still not approved.
Mr. Speaker, I have a slight amendment for the resolve, but allow me to read that the House do set up an ad hoc committee to investigate all transactions in respect of these 820 buses procured by the former governor, Mr. Akinwumi Ambode-led administration, determine the extent of the financial burden on the state government and how such can be ameliorated, proffer solutions on how to further strengthen our processes in order to mitigate against such budgetary breach henceforth.
And it is on this note that we've set up an ad hoc committee that will invite those who are involved in the transaction of the buses in the past administration. You talk about the Commissioner for Finance, you talk about the Accountant General, you talk about the Permanent Secretary, all of them, you invite them. Then at the same time, the current Commissioner for Finance, Lamata, Lagbos, and also let us look for a way out to get these buses on the road.
To other legal matters, the publisher of Sahara Reporters and convener of the Revolution Now protests, Omoyele Sowore, has challenged the powers of the Department of State Security Services, DSS, to arrest, investigate, and prosecute him or any other person under the Terrorism Prevention Act as amended. In documents filed on his behalf by Mr. Femi Falana, SAN, Mr. Sowore contends that the DSS is not one of the law enforcement agencies recognized and listed in Section 40 of the Terrorism Prevention Act as amended. Mr. Sowore also contends that the fact that the SSS and DSS are used interchangeably in Nigeria has not conferred legal status on the DSS, arguing that the motion ex parte for his arrest was filed by the SSS and not the DSS. As far as the law is concerned, the SSS has no power to substitute itself for the DSS. Mr. Sowore also denied DSS reports linking him to any terrorist activity and says that he has never been involved in any such activity and there's no evidence whatsoever linking him to same. He was arrested on August the 3rd by the DSS for trying to stage the Revolution Now process, which held on August the 5th. Away from legal stories, the federal government seems really worried about the London court verdict which awarded $9 billion of Nigeria's assets to a private firm over a botched gas deal. Today, the Minister of Information and Culture says the country is not about to lose any of its assets, despite the ruling, and his comment is being corroborated by the Attorney General of the Federation, who alleges that the contract was designed to fail as the processes involved were not adhered to. Our correspondent, Kayla Megwa, now reports.
In January of 2010, under President Umar Musa Yar'Adua, Irish firm Process and Industrial Development Limited reached a gas supply and processing agreement with Nigeria's Ministry of Petroleum Resources. According to court documents, in the agreement, Nigeria was to supply natural gas at no cost to P&ID, while P&ID was required to construct and operate the facility in Calabar, process the natural gas, return it to the Nigerian government for power generation, also at zero cost for 20 years. The deal fell apart 2 years after, with P&ID suing the Nigerian government for reneging on their part of the agreement. After affirming its jurisdiction on the matter, an arbitration tribunal in England in 2017 awarded P&ID $6.6 billion. Fast forward to 2019, the interest on that amount is now $2.4 billion, bringing the total amount awarded to $9 billion to be paid in assets. Assets which the Nigerian government are determined not to let go of.
Nigeria is not, and I repeat, is not about to lose any of its assets to P&ID.
The Attorney General of the Federation is alarmed by the deal, alleging that the contract itself was designed to fail, questioning the characters behind the proposed deal.
When you conceive, sign and execute a contract for the supply of gas products without involving IOCs, NPDC, and NNPC as a party to that agreement, you know very well that there are a lot of questions to answer arising from the execution of that agreement.
The company, P&ID, alleges that it had invested $40 million into the project. The governor of the Central Bank of Nigeria says that claim is false.
We don't have any information in our records to show that this company brought in 1 cent into this country. And we have accordingly written to the EFCC and the Intelligence Department of Nigerian Police that are currently investigating this matter.
$9 billion is exactly 1/5 of Nigeria's foreign reserve. The federal government has been accused of acting late in this matter, as these criminal investigations into whether this contract had any foul play behind it should have been done when the Buhari administration took up power in 2015. The government on its part said they are looking for a stay of execution on this judgment, as the effect of paying $9 billion will be devastating to the Nigerian people. Kayla Megwa, Channels Television News.
The Joint Health Sector Union Jehesu Area Specialist Teaching Hospital Branch and the Association of Resident Doctors of the same hospital are appealing to the federal government and security agencies to intensify efforts towards rescuing the Chief Medical Director of the hospital, Dr. Silvanus Okogbenin, who was kidnapped in Benin City, the Edo State capital, yesterday. The resident doctors who have stopped work say they will take tougher measures should the safety of staff at the hospital continue to be threatened.
The scenes at Ramat Park in Benin City, the Edo State capital, in the aftermath of the kidnap of the Chief Medical Director, CMD, of Ira Specialist Teaching Hospital, Dr. Silvanus Okogbenin, on Monday. Barely a day after, in Ira Town, Asan Central Local Government Area, the CMD's kidnap has led to the Joint Health Workers Union, Jehesu, Ira Specialist Teaching Hospital's branch, embarking on a road walk and visits to some areas of the town.
Our hospital is under siege, and we want the security agencies to intensify their efforts to bring back our CMD. He's the #1 citizen of that institution. He's a gentleman to the core.
At the hospital, the Association of Resident Doctors also appealed for the release of their boss, stating the action they've taken in the meantime.
As we speak to you, patients are being advised to go elsewhere to seek medical attention because we cannot provide health care, as it were, when the Chief Medical Director of the hospital is actually nowhere to be found at the moment. So we cannot, as a union, as an association, provide health service to the people of Ira Town and environs.
Some of the patients are seen lurking around the corridors. But away from the hospital and back in the Edo State Government House in the state capital, Governor Godwin Obaseki has held a security meeting with the Commissioner of Police.
Well, it's quite unfortunate what happened. We are sad because we lost 2 of our men and the CMD was kidnapped. But I'm reassuring the members of public that we are on their trail, and by the power of God, we are going to rescue him.
This is not commonplace. It's a one-off incident. It's really unfortunate that he was trailed all the way from Iro into Benin on his way to the airport. But like I said, we can't disclose too much at this point in time. The security services are working very, very hard.
Further assurances of Dr. Okogbenin's rescue were also given. Jessica Olubuse, Channels Television News.
In part 2, after the break, another Nigerian businessman is killed in Cape Town, South Africa, allegedly by the country's police officers. Please stay with us.